They boarded up our public house. No more time, gentlemen, please. I live among the debris, the break-ins and the sleaze. The church, our Saint Saviour, shut its doors. No longer can I pray. I've been ethnic cleansed without a thought. No one asked me anyway. Oh, where has my country gone? Have you seen it pass your way? Oh, where has my country gone? We'll give it back away now. Feed ourselves no more. I stop and look around this place I was proud to call my home. My England's green and pleasant land, a place where foreigners roam. Streets of houses filled with people, live through worries, war and strife. Never realized what was happening to their British way of life. Oh, where I Ali shops now on the corner and there's mosques all over town. 24-hour day kebab house, foreign taxis run by Crown. This little piece of England's green.
Councillor John Flanagan, first on the scene after the fire.
Why the hell am I complaining and why don't I understand? And I say, where is the chapel where me grandma used to pray? Where is the alehouse where me father drank each day? Where is the butcher's shop a man would buy a pork? Where have all the white folks gone that you stop and talk? The booker's halfway down our street has long since gone as well. And Dr. Watson's been replaced by a man they call Attell. It's curried rice and foreign dips, no British fish and chips. And the language that we hear all day just comes from foreign lips. And I say, where is the chapel where me grandma used to pray? Where is the alehouse where me father drank each day?
Basically, this is a product of Labour's so-called regeneration in the area. Up until a couple of weeks ago, this pub was a thriving heart of the community around here. We've got a local Labour council just turned up to gloat about this, no doubt. Obviously, you know, from my point of view, I'm sad, I'm absolutely gutted. I've spent 12 years in this place. We've never had the police out, we've never had an incident of any sort in this building. And now all of a sudden, within 3 weeks, the place has been set on fire twice within the space of a week. You know, I mean, the Labour Council are off in the socks off at this, there's no two ways about it. But at the end of the day, I will say one thing to the Labour Council, you know, don't laugh for too long, because soon the smile will be on the other side of your face.
Just 100 yards up the road from the Ace of Diamonds is a nightclub totally unlicensed for music, for selling alcohol, etc. It was reported to the police several occasions earlier this year. Here was their response.
The Yellow Door, I think they're calling the venue.
And is it a yellow coloured door?
Well, I don't think it was actually. No, just a glass door next to the off-line. A single glass door. I mean, it's quite easy to spot.
Well, they went about an hour ago and it was locked and it was all quiet, you know, so
Well, to be quite, as I say, I mean, I'm stood here looking out my front room now, down the road, and there's loads of cars, all parked on the main road. At the end of it. Sorry?
He must have gone to the wrong one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's happening every other week, and as I say, at the end of the day, it's certainly not a licensed venue. It's I pay a fortune for my license, and I expect anyone else that's going to open whatever to do the same. The same thing was happening a couple of months back at the former Nottingham Castle Public House, and it was exactly the same. It seems to be the same group anyway. They were trying to use that as a nightclub, and then eventually they applied for a license and got it turned down. So at the end of the day, if it's running as a nightclub illegally, it shouldn't be happening. It's as simple as that.
It is a new Best One Superstore premises, 327 Northern Road. I've had a look on the history, and I think they have actually visited. The inspector in that area, Gareth. I think him and his staff did visit it in October.
Right.
And I think they did something about it then, but I don't know.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's every other week. This, pretty much most weeks. But they might have the odd break, but it's pretty much most weeks.
Yeah. Well, the inspector you mentioned on this point, he's a response inspector like yourself.
Mr. Nazim, is it?
Yeah.
Several calls later.
Couldn't say at this moment in time. It was evident that they'd been drinking alcohol, but nothing to say they'd been selling it. We've identified who's been running this, and they've been invited in for an interview to basically discuss what their intentions are and see if, well, they haven't got a license, obviously, but basically explain that they can't run regulated entertainment or sell liquor without the relevant licenses in place. So we are fully aware of it, and we are investigating it.
Right. So it's just quite confusing to me actually, because obviously being a licensee and having to go through all the rigmarole of obtaining a license, I never had to be dragged in to be explained that I needed a license, if you know what I mean. Manchester
City Council's response was no better. An officer from the planning department by the name of Harriet Adu was sent to investigate the premises, and she claimed that the current tenants offer a charitable and voluntary service for visiting members of the public. And she went on to say, I would consider this to constitute an advice centre offering professional advice. If it is, as one Miss Adu states, an advice centre, then the people running it are not obviously giving the right sort of advice to these people who are visiting the place, because my advice would be to stop causing trouble and running amok on the streets of Miles Platting. The Manchester councillors involved in the political closure of the Ace of Diamonds should be ashamed of themselves to allow a friendly, trouble-free pub to close down while allowing establishments like this to flourish totally unlicensed. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
Ali shops now on the corner and there's mosques all over town. 24-hour day kebab house, foreign taxis run by Crown. This little piece of England's green and often pleasant land. Why the hell am I complaining and why don't I understand? And I say, where is the chapel where me grandma used to pray? Where is the alehouse where me father drank each day? Where is the butcher's shop a man would buy a pork? Where have all the white folks gone that you stop and talk? The booker's halfway down our street, has long since gone as well. And Dr. Watson's been replaced by a man they call Attell. It's curried rice and foreign dips, no British fish and chips. And the language that we hear all day just comes from foreign lips. And I say, where is the chapel where me grandma used to pray? Where is the alehouse where me father drank each day? Where is the butcher's shop? A man would buy a pork. Where have all the white folks gone that you stop and talk?